I started thinking about how fragile life is and how ill-prepared we are for this. The story I'm about to tell you is about the vulnerability of America's power system, our grid. And it's also about a series of forces and individuals who, instead of doing the right thing for you and me, are interfering with the ability to protect our way of life. Who of us could ever envision a 9/11 happening? But the difference between 9/11 and what I'm about to tell you is that we know this can happen. The question is not will it happen, but when will it happen? But Washington is doing little, if anything, to prevent it. And the consequences, those consequences would be a million times worse than 9/11. One day you're enjoying the comforts of life. The next, everything is different. Civilization as you know it is gone. The death toll would be staggering. Even a blue ribbon congressional commission predicted a major catastrophe with mass American fatalities. And government studies prove an electromagnetic pulse would destroy all electronics and the transformers that power everything, anything, with an on-off switch. Your hot water heater, your refrigerator, your dialysis machine. Hospitals closed, grocery shelves empty. Most of the food you have at home spoiled. And forget about your bank accounts. What you have in your pocket is all you can access. The disaster that I'm talking about can be unleashed naturally by an intense solar flare or deliberately by an enemy detonating a nuclear weapon in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, the Earth is exposed to an intense solar flaring roughly every 150 years. The last time it occurred was 1859. Do the math. We're due. Now, I'm not saying this to panic anyone, but everyone, including our enemies, knows that an artificially created electromagnetic pulse will shut down all power, which risks our survival. The question is not will it happen, but when will it happen?
Your 401k took a hit. You're not alone. The Dow dropping 326 points. That is the biggest drop this year. And things may not be getting any better for your savings.
Hey, Lauren. Ainsley, yesterday was ugly. U.S. stocks got rocked once again. The Dow now down more than 7% in 2014, and the losses are eating into a lot of the gains your 401k saw last year. The sell-off being caused by concerns building in Asia and the cold weather here at home affecting things as well.
How do you solve a problem where you're spending 10% of, you're running a 10% fiscal deficit? You're not going to get growth in the absence of private sector credit demand. So the government's idea right now is we're going to export our way out of this. And when I asked a senior member of the Obama administration last week, how are we going to grow exports if we won't allow nominal wage deflation? And he says, we're just going to kill the dollar. And I said, okay, more you mean? So that's the only answer. And
that's a dead answer.
It's a dead answer, but that's where we're headed.
The Des Moines families say they were terrorized when Ankeny police burst into their home without knocking, and they say somebody could have been hurt or worse, killed because of it.
Sally Prince is afraid to stay in her Des Moines home. She isn't afraid of burglars breaking in. She's afraid of the police. On Thursday, Ankeny police executed a search warrant at her home looking for someone they suspected of using stolen credit cards to buy clothes and electronics. The whole search was caught on surveillance video. Ankeny police tell us they knocked first, but the video tells a different story. It shows one officer pounding on the side of the house. Seconds later, officers use a battering ram to force their way in.
This was over property purchased with a stolen credit card. It doesn't make any sense that they would go to such extremes for something that simple.
Police apparently did not find any of the items they were looking for in the warrant. The family believes the police were also trying to cover up the way they were executing the warrant by covering up and, in one case, even ripping out a security camera. You can see this officer spots the security camera in front of the house and then rips it right out. Another officer spots this video camera downstairs and covers it up. The family says if the police had knocked, they would have opened the door and allowed the officers to search the home. Now they say they're scared the police may come back.
The police are supposed to protect and serve, not make you in fear of them. And I'm totally terrified of them now.
Okay, I don't have time for a cell phone. This is ridiculous. CHP is arresting Engineer Gregoire for where he spotted the fire engine.
A CHP officer handcuffs a Chula Vista firefighter on the scene of a crash.
It's unbelievable you have to do this. It's unbelievable you guys have to treat us like this. We're on the road trying to help you guys. We asked you to clear the road and you said no, and you'll get arrested for moving it.
CHP has guidelines to safely clear the road, but you see, it's up for debate who was in the wrong legally. Firefighters say they park at an angle to protect emergency crews, patients, and drivers.
We're in the middle of patient care with patients on the freeway. They're putting them in handcuffs at this time and walking them away.
Was it a case of mistaken identity? Deputies looking for a murder suspect shot an 18-year-old man.
That cell phone video of family trying to reassure 18-year-old Kevon Young he is going to be all right after undercover deputies opened fire on him while he was outside a friend's home. Tonight, we spoke with him from jail over the phone.
I was trying to put my hands over my head, but they shot me in my leg. I couldn't even tell them.
Deputies say they were in the area undercover looking for this murder suspect. They say they saw a man, later identified as Young, sneaking through front yards, so they identified themselves. They say Young then pulled 2 knives out, so they fired.
I laid down because they were shooting. I couldn't do anything. I tried to put my hands over my head. I even put the bullet stuck in my head. I almost died.
Young says he had knives for protection, but they were in his waistband and he never pointed them at deputies. Nor did he even know that the people running after him with guns were deputies because they came at him shooting without identifying themselves first. Witnesses standing feet away say they heard the same thing. Did you guys hear them identify themselves as sheriffs before they started shooting?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
When did they start identifying themselves as sheriffs?
After the shots rang and they came in the garage and retained us.
Local homeowner is demanding answers. She says the SWAT team broke into her house. She tells us it happened as police set up to catch her neighbor across the street.
Action News' Lorena Inkland was at the standoff on Sunday. She is live on the south side tonight in Lorena. The homeowner and her family were forced to leave their house.
The last person I seen around my house was police officers. So, I'm just assuming that it had to be them.
So she called the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
When he did call me back and say, yes, Miss Franz, my men did come in your house.
While law enforcement generally needs a warrant to enter someone's home, criminal defense attorney Miguel Rosada says there are exceptions.